everybody, and welcome to the Amazon EU Masters. I am Hitbrain, and I am joined by Jamada as we're kicking off the fourth day here at the Amazon EU Masters. So far, it's been a pretty exciting one, hasn't it, Jamada?
Yeah, no, it really has. I think, start to finish so far in these group stages, whilst necessarily we've probably gotten the results we expect the most, I think the contents of the games have just been so back and forth a lot of the time. And yeah, like I said, whilst we've probably ended up where I think most of us are expecting coming into day 4, these games have really just been kind of tooth and nail. A lot of the teams are just fighting for every inch of ground that they can gain.
Yeah, I think, while the expectations maybe have been met in some areas, I think in the way in which we've got there, maybe that has been a little bit interesting. Obviously, the one that jumps out to me is KC getting absolutely flattened by X7. But, other than that, it like you said, it feels like things are being kind of, hit to a certain degree. LDLC, the first seed from the LFL, are showing up, though, right now, and they are putting an absolutely monstrous performance on. Yeah,
no, they are looking absolutely terrifying moving into week 2. Carmine Corp, speaking of terrifying, albeit only against Team Phantasma, were finally able to pick up their win, and I mean, fastest game of the group stages so far by a fairly large margin, and yeah, were very quick to dispatch the GLL side. And after that game, we did see Athletic versus Bisons, where Bisons finally, I mean, it's hard to say necessarily drafted something a little more conventional. They still had the Karma top, but it's something we still at least see enough to call it conventional. Came out into their game against the PG Nats side and picked up a win. Not much else to say about the matchup. Unfortunately, Athletic still chasing a first win.
Definitely conventional Karma top versus, things like the NASA support that we have seen out of Bisons. They are the mad scientists. But X7 versus Gamer Legion, there was a lot here. Obviously, a bit of smack talk has been going on between the regions, as we do share the same studio. So to kind of get this game in where X7 just, they look so good. They look so on form, and they kind of went mad scientists themselves with this draft, picking in the Vladimir in the mid lane, the Soroka in the bot lane, and then Jaeger on this Tryndamere was just able to spin to win. It was a really, really flawless game from X7.
Yeah, no, for the most part, there wasn't really much to complain about from the X7 side. They really did hand it to the Prime team. And like you said, of course, a lot of rivalry there, but a Go Rogue into Red Star, finally a match where a Go Rogue looked pretty strong for a majority of it. But I will say, honestly, Red Star, despite being down several thousand gold, I think it was something stupid like 7,000, almost 8,000 at 25 minutes or so, they really did make a Go Rogue work for their money in that match. Unfortunately, still chasing a victory, as Go Rogue did eventually close out. Vitality B coming in against EINS. Very exciting game, but unfortunately for the Prime side, it was Vitality B that were still just a little bit too on form for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to see how today goes, because we have so many teams that are actually very close within the standings of each other. And I know, there's only 2 weeks of the group stage. It's that double round robin, and we are closing in on the end of that here today. But, you look over at some groups like, I believe it's Group C, where everybody is just super close to each other. Obviously, Spandau versus Vitality B. Right now, these two teams, well, Spandau are 1-1 right now in the standings. So, every win today is going to be super important for these teams. They really need to find them. And while I was talking about the scores, let's actually have a look at those scores and see where our teams are standing right now. Vitality B are at the top of this Group A, 2-0. Over in Group B, it's X7 who are 2-0. Then over Group C, this is the exciting group for me, I think, because everybody is 1-1. It's very, very tight and a lot to play for today over in Group C. And then over in Group D, LDLC, the first seed from the LFL, having an absolutely just amazing performance right now. 3-0 in their group. Unicorns of Love Sexy Edition are just behind them, 2-1. But Group D is looking pretty cemented right now. And we can have a look at today's schedule. We have Spandau taking on a Go Rogue as our first game. X7 versus Team Phasma. Team Esker Gaming taking on Bifrost. Vitality B versus Red Star. Carmine Corp versus Gamer Legion. And Fnatic TQ versus BDS Academy. Jamada, what games are you excited for this?
I mean, for me, it's definitely like those final 2 games of the day. Carmine Corp taking on, of course, Gamer Legion, Fnatic, Kesso against BDSA. I think also our opening game as well has a lot of promise, simply because EINS and Rogue, I think they've definitely had their issues so far in the group, and being 1-1 is definitely going to be a very pivotal game for them to try and lock down, because Vitality B going up against Red Star, that's a game where you expect Vitality B to win, right? So you want to be as close to that first seed as possible moving into week 2. So definitely probably the most important game in Group A today.
I actually think our third game is going to be a really, really fun one to watch as well. Team Esker versus Bifrost. This is the NLC second seed taking on the Ultra League's second seed. Like I was saying, Group C is currently 1-1 across the board. Everybody is tied up, and this gives you a massive slingshot of power going into the second week and the second stage of the round robin, because this win could be the difference maker between you making it into the knockout stage or not, because everyone kind of looked at this group and went, yeah, Fnatic are going to be the top team in this group, but they are still tied up with everybody else. So it's going to be a very fun one to watch. But let's turn our attention towards our first game of the day. Eintracht Spandau taking on a Go Rogue. Now, I want to focus a little bit more on a Go Rogue because, Jamada, you were talking to me about FLICKR, the AD carry, and how he had been having a really, really good performance so far.
Yeah, 2 games on the Misfortune, and I mean, just by the numbers, I mean, look at this. Damage per minute, 728. Damage percent for Rogue, 34% of the team's damage. Over a third of a Go Rogue's damages come through him. 8.3 KDA, I think is close to, if not more than doubling any other AD carries KDA in Group A, and he's participating in 3/4 of the team's kills. Now, naturally, you know, you can always throw these kind of big numbers up and say, wow, what a performance, but I think when you take it into context of how Go Rogue's games have been going, most of their early games they've spent, you know, putting resources into Sinmivak or through the mid lane. They've not really focused so heavily into FLICKR unless they were necessarily forced to in sort of like that closer to mid game stages. A lot of the gold and damage that FLICKR eventually ends up doing is through his own means, and I think that's what makes these stats so impressive to me, is that for FLICKR, he has been just pulling out these massive ultimates, and it's been pretty much tearing through every team that he's been up against on that Misfortune. And speaking of FLICKR, of course, the rest of the team, Sinmivak, Rabble, Nite, and beansu at his side in the support role.
Yeah, but on the other side, it is going to be Eintracht Spandau, and we'll have a look at their roster and see who they've got coming up for them. Pride, Obsess, Special, Kynetic, and Prime. Who's kind of jumping out to you on this lineup then? Because we talked a little bit about a Go Rogue, but let's talk about Spandau.
I mean, I think for me so far, Obsess has been having a pretty decent EUM. I think you could also look towards Special individually, whilst maybe the scores might not necessarily speak out. I think if you watch the way that Special's been playing, particularly on the LeBlanc game as well, I feel like he had a pretty good time of it. So I'm looking at Eintracht Spandau and saying, I think you probably look to play towards your mid jungle here. Try and bleed it into whatever side you want. I think Pride has been having some pretty decent mid game performances, even lane performances in the game against Vitality B. It wasn't too bad either. So I think there's loads of options for Spandau here to work with. But I'm definitely looking more towards Rogue, and I'm saying, okay, Luck's been having pretty damn good performances. Are you willing to put resources into him, or are you going to play like how you have been domestically and sort of play more mid jungle into the top side for Sinmivak?
Yeah, I would like to see what the game plan is going to be here for Go Rogue, because it feels like they do typically lean a little bit more on going into the later stages of the game and then looking to try and carry through FLICKR there. But, you know, it's been one of the things we wanted to talk about and have talked about a lot is, you know, Poland as a region has been one of those very, very hyped up regions for a long time here at the European Masters. But in the last few performances, it feels like they have simmered off a little bit from that kind of like, you know, top tier team to one which is maybe slightly weaker. Maybe that is partly down to just the talent has kind of slowly dripped out of the region and into other areas, you know, some into LEC, some into, you know, other areas like the LFL and places like that. So the question is, you know, they're in a bit of a lull now as a region. So we're trying to see them kind of bring themselves back up, because Poland, there is a lot of raw talent in this area, and the European Masters, they have consistently shown us that. But we're into the picks and bans right now. We have the Twisted Fate, Illusion, the LeBlanc, and the Nocturne banned away. Spandau now making their final ban, which is going to be that Veigar from Nite.
Yeah, which does also set up for Special to maybe go for a B1R if he wants to on a Go Rogue. Actually, I'm just going to respond with removing that away, so this does mean that the Zeri is up and available if Eintracht Spandau want it. Of course, it typically does get banned out on that third ban on red side. Will they take the bait? Because obviously the Veigar ban did signal this RE ban. So it seems like Agoro just didn't really want to have to deal with that matchup at all. Which is definitely kind of interesting when you think about Special's ability to definitely play the LeBlanc matchup out pretty well. So let's see if we end up with the Zeri pick, or we actually get a pivot potentially to this Jarvan for Obsess, which of course we spoke about Obsess very briefly as being a player to definitely look at on this Eintracht Spandau lineup. And giving him all of this agency in the early game is definitely a good way to try and play through that mid jungle.
Yeah, it's going to be the instant lock-in on that on the side of a Go Rogue, though. We'll see what they decide to go for. Can lock in the Zeri to start us off with. Lulu is still open. Same with things like the Yuumi as well. If you just want to give that Enchanter kind of speed up the Zeri as much as possible. They are just going to lock in the Trundle so they can kind of skirmish and scrap with this Jarvan in that jungle role. And now over to Spandau on what they want to go for, if they want to get their hands onto a good AD carry and a good bot lane right now, or if they want to look maybe to lean a little bit more towards special and kind of unlock Obsess a little bit more and get a good mid-jungle synergy going.
Yeah, and actually, I'll take back my point from earlier because I didn't realize a Go Rogue did ban out Specials LeBlanc, so I apologize for missing that one. But there you go, the Jinx gets locked in to match that Zeri, of course, and I wonder if they will go for a blind pick in the mid lane, and whether they'll just go for something like the Lulu, just to go for the straight up, you know, sort of Enchanter with the Jinx, just to give that Jinx the extra bit of power, or they'll go for the Rakan to just give Obsess a little more agency in terms of the mid game engages, and that will be the case. And this does line up now if beansu wants to go for something a little more Enchanter, just because Rakan definitely isn't necessarily known for punishing lanes outright. And yeah, like you highlighted, Lulu, Yuumi, of course, was also the other very common pairing, and it will be beansu piloting this pick. And now I'm very curious to know what Rogue will actually do with their bans here. Because they go towards Pride, you're thinking about things like the Gnar as a ban, you're thinking about things as maybe the Camille, the Jayce. These are all picks that Pride is very, very proficient at, but instead they want to actually target Special's champion pool and take away the Orianna, which, given the composition right now, I think it makes a lot of sense. It would buy a lot of space for this Eintracht Spandau side, and also dealing with Orianna pool as things like the Zeri and the Trundle can be very, very irritating to walk into.
Yeah, and it feels like they're just heavily focusing on Special's pool here.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the 3 mid lane bans so far, obviously there is a TF and a Veigar, but from a Go Rogue side, they've had 3 mid lane bans. They're actually just going to take Pride off the Ornn. Don't want to give him that kind of engaged duty here. I feel like an Ornn on top of what Spandau have already got means team fighting into them would be incredibly hard work. So especially when you've got things like a Zeri who's pretty short range, so can get engaged on pretty effectively here. Spandau now looking for their final lock-in, or sorry, final ban here. They have looked to focus towards that top lane, and they're going to actually kind of flex focus towards that top lane there as they take the Aurelia off the board. Now Go Rogue, I'm assuming they're going to want to try and give Nite counter pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a curious decision to make here for a Go Rogue, because these bans set up for a Jayce B4, B5 with the Aurelia and the Tryndamere banaways, and it seems like Sinmivak is going to be the one that gets the counter because the Corki gets locked in. So you know, we are returning to the World's Mare if we see something like Victor or Azir come out here from Special. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Control Mage into this Corki, unfortunately, so it might be a little bit Resident Sleeper through the mid-jungle, but we'll see. Maybe Special has something spicy up his sleeve. But again, with those Aurelia and Tryndamere bans, I'm expecting something like this Jayce to just be blinded. I think with the top lane bans that have been removed, it's still very playable, and we will actually get something with a little more kill threat like the Syndra here. So it does mean there will be a little bit of pressure towards the Nite and maybe Rabble to try and assist this mid lane. And this does give a lot of agency over now to the Prime League side to actually play through this mid jungle like we were hoping to see them do.
Absolutely. Also, kind of the big thing for me is Spandau afforded themselves a lot of zone control with that Syndra, the Rakan, the Jarvan. There's lots of, you know, if you are Rabble running forward into that comp, it's quite scary, especially when there's a lot of long-range poke now coming in with that Jayce, like you're saying. It's just going to get blind picked there for Pride in the top lane. And the question for me is now, what is the answer going to be for a Go Rogue? Who do they want to put in the top lane for Sinmivak? Is he just going to kind of get put on weak side duty, or maybe they got something up their sleeves? It looks like they might have something up their sleeves here. They are just going to look to pick this Camille into the top lane. So Sinmivak kind of leaning more towards an aggressive champion in the top side and not just going to roll over.
Yeah, that's definitely... I'm not sure how I feel about the Camille pick. Obviously, you know, in isolation against the Jayce, it can work out very fine. You can get on top of the Jayce quite easily, lock him down, and Rabble can come up there for setup. I mean, they actually even have the pillar plus hookshot setup if they really need to use it. Very niche, but it does work out a lot of the time. Curious to see how Sinmivak will pilot this Camille, because I think looking at something like the Scion here, when you already have the Corki and the Zeri there, front to backing would have been absolutely fine, but now the Camille brings a little bit more side lane agency, a little more sort of dive if you can necessarily get that option. That can definitely work out. But I look towards this Prime League draft here for Eintracht Spandau, and I say a lot of dive options when they need it, but most importantly, they also have the zone control. The zone control tools, like you mentioned, they have the poke to then, you know, again, use the poke, and then capitalize with the engage option. So I think a little more versatile on what Spandau can do here. I think for a Go Rogue, definitely looking towards that top side of the map and trying to push Sinmivak ahead on this Camille. Otherwise, they're going to be sat there waiting for these items to come in for the Corki and for the Zeri.
Yeah, I think if you're waiting on those two, it could run away from you a little bit. And that kind of leans towards what we're saying about a Go Rogue. They are a team that domestically have kind of sat back a little bit and waited for late game to kind of carry. And my question was, you know, this is something we see quite a lot during the Amazon EU Masters, is teams that come in from domestic where they're very good at just kind of stemming the bleeding and then just getting to late game, and then they go versus teams who play way more aggressive. If they sit on their laurels, I feel that Spandau should be able to punish them here. Keep in mind, Spandau should probably be 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
They kind of threw their lead out of the window in their game versus Vitality B. They were 6k gold up at 25 minutes, and it just kind of crumbled for them.
We will dub it the Baron incident and and leave it at that. But yeah, definitely a good point. Eintracht Spandau moving into this game very well could have been top of the group. Go Rogue rather, waiting in this bush, expecting some kind of stack from Eintracht Spandau, but it won't come in. And everybody will return to their posts. Rabble is giving us the troll dance, and Obsess will be very mean and drop a flag on his head. But nothing. I can hear the all chat going because of that. That's pretty funny. But yeah, nothing too crazy going on at level 1. Seemed like a Go Rogue were trying to read into a level 1. And aside from that, we will just get lines of scrimmage, no level 1 wards.
Interesting as well to see that Obsess has actually opted for the lethal tempo. We've seen quite a few Jarvans at this tournament so far take the first strike. Just kind of add to that like burst potential you get from it. But it's just going to go for the lethal tempo instead. You're a jungler, and
yes.
Actually I've seen you play Jarvan recently. What's your thought process on this?
Yeah, I mean, lethal tempo is just sort of a rune to allow you to skirmish a little better in the early game, just because the attack speed can kind of stack up very quickly on Jarvan. You already have the passive from the Demacian standard, and then if you put that flag down, you get basically the passive attack speed immediately. So it's very easy to stack up that lethal tempo. And I think that's just about it, really. Obviously, you see a lot of other options. We've actually seen Spellbook Jarvan at this tournament already. But First Strike, of course, popularized by Malrong in the LEC as well. But lethal tempo, just for a little more skirmishing in the early game. If it was something more bruisery, the comp of a Go Rogue, then you could have seen maybe something like the Conqueror, something we're very used to seeing traditionally come out, but will not be the case, as unfortunately Lucker misses out on that ward. So you will see Prime and Kynetic here try and just force control and push Lucker and beansu back whilst they have priority. Actually get themselves a Lucker level 2, a little more poke, and that's going to definitely feel a little bit rough for now. But you have to remember, of course, Yuumi going to provide a lot of sustain over the course of the lane. Just have to get those, what's the passive called? Pop and block? Something like this.
I actually can't remember the name of Yuumi passive. That's really bad.
Yeah, block and bop, something like that. Anyway, you'll see Lucker will be able to sustain up over the course of the lane regardless. But priority is going to firmly be in the Prime League's favor. Yeah,
they've been able to get a really nice little level 2 trade there, and it's going to cause beansu to burn quite a lot of mana just to recover Lucker's health from that earlier trade. Both junglers are actually on the top side of the map as well, so maybe we might see something early breakdown here. It does look like Rabble's a little bit ahead of the punch to his counterpart in the clear speed, and Rabble's actually moving up first. Pride's got a very large wave stacked into Sinmivak.
Look at Prime.
Might be looking for it, waiting for the pillar to come down, and Pride now has to be oh so careful. Caught up by the pillar, looking for the turnaround, but he's hookshotted straight onto. He loses so much health. Here comes Obsess though. Can he find the flag and drag? Prime's made his way out. First blood has been picked up for Rabble. They're going to turn it back around as Sinmivak loses his life, and now Rabble is on his lonesome. 1 versus 2 as he's making a run for it. No flash available. Can he get under the tower? It looks like he's going to be able to. A 1-for-1 topside.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a visual bug on the spectator end, but it seemed like Pride flashed on the spot, unless I'm missing something there as well. But Eintracht Spandau, they had the read on this topside gank. It's just that Obsess actually passed down towards the Skull Crab, it looked like at first, instead of actually trying to cover and match Rabble at the gank itself. I mean, just alone the fact that Prime reset on that second wave or the third wave on the bottom lane and then walked up to the top side says to me that they were ready for this gank, but they weren't able to actually have the numbers immediately there, and it means that Go Rogue were able to take down Pride for first blood. I'll get the replay, and you'll see on the minimap, I mean, Obsess is just kind of waiting in the river instead of being up here already in the bush. And you have to imagine if he's there just, you know, 2 seconds, 3 seconds sooner, yeah, Prime did flash on the spot. But if Obsess was there sooner, yeah, he would have probably gotten out. And if Obsess was there sooner, definitely could have helped keep his top laner alive. So definitely a little bit messy from the Spandau side as they read the play. Just not everybody seemed to be on the same page.
Yeah, I'm looking for Sinmivak. Sinmivak should have that hook shot up though, so it's quite hard to gank the Camille at this point. Although there is a large wave pushing in, and
yeah, Pride is trying to sell this really well. He really wants Sinmivak to come into him right now. Just because it's so easy for him to use that bottom side wall to get the hook shot in. Sinmivak is doing the correct thing, just respecting the fact that Obsess could still be up here, and Obsess cancels his recall last second, and now the patience might pay off.
It might do indeed. Is gonna get spotted out the flag. The drag, and to the skies they go. Pride takes down Sinmivak. Nice and easy up in the top.
Yeah, there you go. Patience does pay off. And Rabble actually on the top side, so not on the bottom side to do something like start up the dragon. Has priority on the bottom side. Not gonna be able to use it. That's just patience paying off for Obsess. And so I was talking about Obsess. Somebody traditionally who's been very willing to sacrifice his own resources in order to get his team ahead. And this Jayce pick, the bans did come out for it in the second phase, and right now they are also playing towards him up in the top side.
Actually, the unleashed power onto Nite is going to chunk him heavily. Chugging away on that potion keeps him alive for now, but if Special finds a good scatter, that could be his life, so the Valkyrie has to come out. They're able to slip away to safety. Now, Rabble moving into the jungle, seeing if there's anything to steal, but it is a little bit scary. Pride using that shot blast over the wall, I actually think might have spooked Rabble a little bit to make him think there was a ward there if it wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. That 1v1 in the mid lane quite close. If Nite didn't have that no magic mantle, I think he just dies.
Yeah.
Outright to the damage. Of course, the earliest parts of resist that you get have the highest efficiency. I think it would have been very, very close to lethal there. But nothing actually leveraged from either side at this moment from that exchange in the mid lane. Obsess didn't try to start up the dragon because the bottom side there wasn't priority in the moment. And now Obsess is actually up on the top side on vision. Ooh. Rabble.
Pride fashless.
Yeah, they should be pretty
free. Pillar. There's the hook shot. He misses out on the stun, but they catch him in the Hextech ultimatum. The bot back won't save his life for now. Pride has got himself a phase rush and he's running away. Here comes backup. Obsess is in. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, beansu's been locked down. Can the cat get to safety? No, he can't. Prime will take him down.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think beansu just came out wrong time around top of the chompers. Got himself locked up, and obviously when you get CC'd outside of being attached to a champion, you cannot reattach for a good 3, 4, 5 seconds. Now Special gonna find Rabble on these Krugs. They're looking to dive Sinmivak, and I love this, trying to shut down the one side lane condition that Go Rogue have.
Sinmivak's gonna have to play this. Absolutely amazing. Actually goes for the quick turnaround. Obsess in trouble. He's gonna be going low. That's one kill. Now Pride jumps in. Answers back. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Pride is on the wrong side of the map as Rabble can chase him down with the red buff. He's so close to killing him. The unleashed power is here, and Special saves the day. Pride shall live.
Rabble just gets a little bit too greedy. Sees a little bit too much red in his eyes. He really wanted that Jayce. Wasn't gonna be able to get him in the end. Eintracht, the execution a little bit sloppy there on the dive, but they do make it work in the end. Sinmivak does a pretty decent enough job. Again, just walking backwards, send the hook shot out. Just try and make a bit of a predicament. Goes back in, I think. Locks up Obsess. And then Rabble is able to take his life, and then just here, Thunder and Blow knocks away Rabble. And then I think the issue here for Rabble is that he walks outside of the domain. The domain fizzles out. And he no longer has the movement speed to catch up to Pride, and all the damage comes out from Special's kit. Not able to find that one last chomp.
And Sinmivak, the player who you've seen a Go Rogue play around a little bit more this split. Now 0-3 on the Camille. A lot of attention's been put in there, while Pride, absolute powerhouse performance, 3-1 on the Jayce. Mid lane, like you're saying, a little bit sleeper. Special has been very active on the map though, while Nite has kind of been quite content just to farm waves and has got a minor lead off the back of that, but I think the lead for Special was able to earn his team there on the top side. Way more worth it than a couple of farm. Trade of objectives though is going to go down as the Rift Herald and the Dragon will get traded. Go Rogue picking up this Infernal Drake for themselves, so it could set himself towards a potential soul win condition, but that is obviously not immediately going to be as useful as this Rift Herald will be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Herald, base level effectiveness, 2 plates, 300 gold, basically the kill. Or the gold overkill, rather. So we'll see what Obsess can get done with it. As I will say, it's not all doom and gloom for a Go Rogue. Whilst they are down 1,000 gold, approaching the 10-minute mark. And you have to remember the scaling capabilities of this team composition from a Go Rogue. Absolutely bonkers. Even without the Yuumi there, and then you think about Yuumi buffing up all of these champions. It's a scary thought. So Eintracht Spandau definitely have to execute quite well in the next 10 minutes to ensure that they do put a Go Rogue in a pretty big hole here. As
Rabble?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the play. Has a lot of sustain thanks to his ultimate there, but that was a lot. As meanwhile, everything's getting thrown down in the bot lane. Unfortunately, the final chapter was not aimed right, and Prime and Kynetic are just able to walk away without getting locked up. 2 ultimates burnt there. Sinmivak jumping onto Pride as well in the top side. Feels like a Go Rogue. They're feeling a little bit desperate to try and make these plays happen and not really getting much for it.
I mean, that's the thing, right? No agency out of the mid lane. Special's always got first move in the bottom side. FLICKR and beansu, they do look for the play there, and they do get Kynetic's flash and heal. So there's definitely something they can maybe look towards in the next couple of minutes, whilst there's not too much going on the map. Of course, now that the Herald has also been used, there's no threat of, like, you know, Eintracht Spandau just grouping up in the top side, and whilst a Go for a bottom side play, you know, you lose the entirety of the top lane tower. So I hope that we do get to see a play come out on towards that Jinx. For now, FLICKR just about even enough CS with this Jinx lane. But Kynetic does actually have Cole, so we'll cash out on that pretty soon. Now we'll just increase the gold lead a little bit more.
Nite, bean to base, got the Manamune finished up. Special with the pen boots finished though, and that lost chapter pretty strong as Rabble. Rabble really just doesn't care. He just wants gold as much as possible. He's just running into people. Will eat the zap and the knocker and the trap and the charm and has to flash away. Rabble, I don't know if that was worth what you just got for that.
Now the worst
because
part
you might lose your blue.
Yeah, because now Obsess is here and it's going to take up the blue buff. That was such a solo queue moment where you just see your jungler just scuffling over.
I mean, I guess
it was going to reset. Yeah, I mean, it was going to reset.
Guess.
So, yeah, Obsess did have to smite that. I think one more auto wouldn't have been enough time on the patience to actually lock that down. And definitely right now, a Go Rogue, like we said, you know, a lot of the Ultra Liga teams, whether it be first seed, even down to, you know, second, third, and now this tournament fourth, are quite passive. As that's a pretty nasty trade. But again, that no magic mantle just doing enough. And now, here you go. They want to target the bottom side. No flash on Kynetic.
They're going for the dive. Kynetic will be falling. That's going to be one for FLICKR. He flashes forward into Prime's pocket, getting shot after shot after shot into him. A double kill for FLICKR. Now Sinmivak's coming in, forces Special to flash, but the Hextech ultimatum's coming in. Nite's going to jump forward, get a little bit more additional damage down as Sinmivak gets the kill. Obsess flashes, Nite flashes in response. Cataclysm won't pin him in place. Here comes Rabble to save the day. Obsess is going to get turned onto, and a Go Rogue just come alive.
Yeah, they find these key kills, and this is what I was saying, you know, when they burned Kynetic's flash in that 2v2, you have to go and punish that, and punish it they do. The only issue is now, because Sinmivak also went down towards the mid lane to try and pick on Special, they will lose out on this tower on the top side, and Pride just pocketed 600 extra gold. And actually, observers, if I could ask, what is the gold standings right now? Because Pride, after this replay, of course, has to be up at least 1,000 or more on Sinmivak, as, yeah, dive easy as you like. All the almost just stacked on top of Kynetic. Nothing can really do, pinned up against the wall. And Prime also nothing else to get himself away after that flash. And in the mid lane, good read from Sinmivak. Great flash also in response from Special. The only issue is that tactical sweep still connects the slows there. And actually an excellent flash by Nite. Dodged out on the damage from the Cataclysm. Definitely something that's pretty hard to time. And actually, I take back my 1,000 core. It's 2,000 gold ahead for Pride up in the top side.
Oh, Kynetic. You are just about to able to wiggle out of that one. Flash still down, so a little bit more of a punish. If they had that final chapter, I think Kynetic might have died there.
Yeah. I think that would have
Luckily
been the
for Kynetic, they don't.
No, and now we are at 14-minute mark. Second dragon is spawning. Plates just fall off. Nite has the package, so seems like a Go Rogue. At the very least, they're considering contesting this dragon here, and Eintracht Spandau brought Pride down, so that signals to me that they definitely want to fight over it themselves. Lost out on the first dragon. It's like they don't want to lose out on the second. Rabble Will he secure the Skull Crab without giving over his life? He will.
He
have
will
to ask
this
these
time.
questions after the previous Skull Crab spawn.
Oh, that might actually be a package burnt from Nite. Nope, it is able to hold on.
It's hovering on the
Dragon's
opposite
going to
side
get
of the map.
started, and I think, yep, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to contest.
Okay.
Second Dragon goes over to a Go Road. Over to Spandau. A Go Rogue are just going to have to sit back and let that. Curious to see if Nite even actually uses the package aggressively or if it's just a threatening
It's
tool.
gone.
It is used, so no.
It's used somewhere. But this does really just speak to how the Premier League often do play. Very passive.
Oh?
Happy to give up that objective there.
Oh.
This fight, they want it.
There's the chapter, there's the cataclysm. They've got Prime Court for the moment, and now they're going to look for Obsess. beansu's able to find the kill. A Go Rogue just finding himself a lovely pick there.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, when you talk about the context of this game, right, the scaling available, the scaling options available to a Go Rogue, this game stay is honestly fine. You're only down 500 gold.
Yeah.
Yes, Pride is very far ahead, but right now, Eintracht Spandau, they're not using this very fed Jayce. They still need him, really, to pick up the Muramana, the Manamune, and then upgrade it into the Muramana before Jayce is really online. Special actually doesn't even have his first item up yet either, so Syndra's power not quite fully unlocked in the earliest of stages just yet, but engage pretty clean here from a Go Rogue. They just punish what is effectively an overstep from Eintracht Spandau. They pick up Obsess. Not too much to talk about. Obsess not really able to get himself back out over the wall, and actually almost trapped Prime, I think.
Prime had to
Cataclysm.
E to get out of that, yes.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the items, actually, because we've got the Moonstone now finished up into beansu, double Triforces as well, the side of a Go Rogue. You got the Chem Tank, that Muramana closing in, Manamune, closing in on being fully stacked into the Muramana. Has, and I think smartly so, sidetracked into a Hex Drinker for Nite. Special, obviously, has a lot of potential to assassinate him. And Special has now finally been to base and picked up the Leandre. So pretty much everyone, bar Prime, has now finished up their first item. So pretty equalish footing right now, but looking at Nite, it's when that second item comes through, once you got that Luden's Echo, and for the side of LFLICKR, once he's got the Titanic Hydra, that's kind of when a Go Rogue really starts to hit some major spikes.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of same for a Jinx. She wants like 2 or 3 items before she gets like really oppressive.
It is definitely the case. I think when you're talking about sort of time scaling, Rogue, they're very comfortable to sort of sit here for the next 8 to 10 minutes or so and just farm it out. And I think the fact that it's a Cloud Soul as well, it's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure in this game of, all right, we don't have to deal with something like a Hextech Soul, we don't have to deal with something like an Infernal Soul. You know, the more oppressive souls to have to fight into. Cloud, with the exception of the Rakan, there's really not too much value in it. Of course, stats that Cloud Dragon now does give this split, or the season rather, quite nice in comparison to the previous one, but as you say, it's not one of those oppressive ones. So a Go Rogue, they kind of luck out on this Dragon Soul and Rift, in my opinion, and the fact that they also picked up the first one so that Eintracht Spandau aren't stacking those dragons can be a big deal.
Absolutely. All right. Well, just taking a little look at the vision actually, and there is vision down by a Go Rogue, but it's fairly like shallow. Only kind of goes to the pits on either side of the river, and then like a couple close to the Spandau jungle. It's kind of the same from Spandau, kind of signaling a little bit of an ARAM in the last few moments, and maybe a setup for a bit more of a mid siege. But obviously with that tower down now, they may just relax for the moment. Spandau are going to move in now and get pretty dominating vision control of this area. With the dragon spawning up soon, they really want to make sure they can get their hands onto this second dragon. And with this mid lane tower down, it also forces Nite to play even further back in case he is caught out.
I think right now it seems like Eintracht Spandau, they want to try and at least start to pick apart the map a little bit more in the tower department. Just moving down from the mid lane whenever they get these waves crashed up high in the mid. Like you said, vision firmly in their favor, especially towards this bottom side of the map. But I do feel they're going to want to try and force the issue sooner rather than later, because I think, again, you really don't want to let, you know, Corki come online, you don't want to let Zeri come in line, especially with Yuumi on her back.
Yeah.
And you have to remember the Corki, don't forget, right? And I think this point has been made quite a few times, but just because we don't see Corki so frequently anymore in the meta, he's still pretty much the same champion. The only reason why we don't see him is because that package spawns at a different time to the Herald, so the priority on the pick effectively fell it still deals the exact same amount of damage.
Yes.
It did not touch the damage numbers on this champion. So
Oh, actually, just noting on package, Nite was, I think, 11 seconds off his package spawning. You can see him waiting on base. Dragon spawning in 13 seconds. He'll get down here quick, but FLICKR has just been shut down and caught out by Pride. Just not respecting where his team were on the map, and now that's kind of a wasted package from Nite. He's not going to be able to use it.
Yeah, I mean, they might still be able to try and find something with that package, but I mean, like you say, just a moment of autopilot there for FLICKR. Face checks into what is no vision. I mean, actually, can we toggle Eintracht or rather Go Rogue vision? Because I don't think there's anything for him to be down there for at all. Definitely a bit of a weird one. And Eintracht Spandau, they will pick up that dragon slowly but surely as Pride all shoving on this bottom side tier 2. Nite will answer, and remember, does have the package. Could go for an assassination, but this is a pretty strong Jayce.
Yeah, it is, but he's still feeling it. Gonna jump in, take a lot of damage in response, but deal a lot out himself. Flashes forwards a couple more rockets. It's the big one, but it's not big enough. It goes side, and Pride is dodging rocket after rocket. Rabble continues to chase. One more rocket is gonna be enough, but no. Here we go, baby. Pillared and shut down. Nite finds the kill.
Yeah, and on the top side, they're trying to look for Sinmivak. He's actually already chunked out special. Unleashed all of his kit onto him. Prime doesn't get hit by that tactical sweep. That's the flash. Get hit by that, you get Scout of the Week, you die. And now Obsess going to get forced out of his red side jungle. Actually,
that's a Yuumi Trundle. Subjugates on, pillar there as well. Going to force him to flag and drag away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Eintracht Spandau's composition was a little more bruisery, I wouldn't even mind seeing Rabble go for something like the Divine Syndra. Just because you have the Yuumi in the game. If it's ever on your back, you kind of just turn into a bit of an unkillable demon. Let's get the replay of the bottom side. And like we were saying, with that package, the assassination potential is definitely there. And I think, unfortunately for Pride, he may have actually to the skies on top of the package to return the damage back onto Nite. All of these rockets just barely go wide, either because of a flash or a sidestep. And unfortunately, the flash comes out. And Pride's escape attempt is cut short. And Nite picks up a 700 gold shutdown, which is going to bring him his Ludens. Maybe a little more earlier than we were anticipating.
And that is scary now.
Yeah, he's online now.
He's got Ludens, he's got the Mirror Mana, Hex Drinker as well, just to be extra safe versus special. Titanic Hydra just got finished on the base there for FLICKR. And these were those two items we were talking about as well. Now these are online. It does get a little bit scarier for the side of Spandau. You've also got the buildings or some anti-heal from beansu as well to somewhat alleviate that. Although if you do look on Pride, he's almost fully stacked his Mirror Mana, got the Eclipse as well. So while Pride did die there, he is by no means weak. And Sinmivak is by no means alone because he has Nite, he has Rabble, and he's feeling the turnaround. Caught out by the quickness, jumping in for safety, but here comes the backup. The rocket comes in from downtown, and Kynetic's able to find the kill. A great Cataclysm slows everybody off, but Nite continues to chase forward with the big rocket onto Obsess. Obsess flags and drags away, but here comes the backup. They've got the final chapter. Gonna force out the Gale Force. Special will buy a bit of space as they're trying to chase for more. The slows are coming in from both teams, and now Special is gonna get popped. Look at the damage from the rocket, but they can't find anything else. There's so much just breathing room they're able to give each other with the slows. Whoa, that fight was close.
That was very close. And I mean, we spoke about all of the engage potential from, of course, Spandau's composition. We never really spoke about the disengage potential as well. And when you're looking at Goro's composition, there's just not really too much hard engage, right? You're looking at Sinmivak diving in effectively kind of by himself. There is no dive buddy unless beansu's on his back. And Yuumi, I'm not sure how often you really want to be on top of a Camille diving into 3-4 members. Of course, unless you are pretty much making it a 1v2 as great read from Sinmivak. Doesn't go backwards. Kind of inside Prime's head there. Locks him up inside of the cage, but fortunately for him, Prime doesn't actually end up dropping. And Sinmivak gets sniped by Kynetic's rocket from downtown. Obsessed with the big one. 400, 500, 600 damage onto Obsessed. Frontliner. Now at this point, it's just full-blown retreat as Eintracht can come out the replay. They're on top of the Baron.
Wait, is this another Baron incident?
This is going on. I mean,
not again.
The Rogue, they're here, but they don't have all their almost. I don't think they know what's going on. The blue ones come out. They know now.
They know now, and that means they're instantly running over. Look at Rabble. He is bolting towards the pit.
He can't get in.
He can't get in close enough, but Nite's on the way as well. They're going to continue on to the Baron for a little bit more. Obsess is low. He's able to find a smite, but this could still be absolutely catastrophic for the side of Spandau. They get away with only losing 2. Nite gifted a double kill.
Oh, it's so spooky. If a Go Rogue were a little bit closer, we could have been looking at Baron into the number 2 for Spandau, but they pick it up. Special Kynetic Prime. Definitely some of the more important members to have it, but Pride losing it definitely is going to feel a little bit bad over the next couple of minutes. Let's see what they can get done. The Baron power play is barely over even there. I'm not sure if any shutdowns are given over or not, but took a little bit too long. And these chompers just mean that, unfortunately, Rabble has to just take a really awkward path. But I mean, realistically, Special was always going to just use the ultimate, scatter the weak him out. No flash to get inside the pit. It's going to be too difficult. In the pit, however, itself, yeah, Pride and Jarvan unable to stay alive, get jumped on by the rest of the Go Rogue. And they get executed for their crimes of trying to go for a Baron, as audacious as that. Very fortunate. I mean, definitely a good timing, of course. They must have just seen a Go Rogue. We're on a reset timer. So definitely good awareness to sneak that one away. Just unfortunate to not walk away with everybody alive.
Yeah, they do lose 2, and that is more gold gifted over to the Corki. Now got the Tiamat in the inventory once that Hydra comes in. Get AoE splash rockets, even worse. But look at that dragon is up, and Sinmivak actually jumps in onto Pride. Able to dodge away on everything that gets thrown out, and Special will be punished as the package is dropped. Nite is not dropped in response. A Go Rogue find themselves 2 quick kills, and they teleport bot side. They're looking to contest the dragon.
Yeah, they are looking to contest the dragon. They should just get it for free. Or rather, I mean, I should get it for free. They are still looking to try and make it down here and Prime. Oh my god.
Prime is going low. The smites, the flashes are thrown down. That's a dragon, but it's interrupted by the pillar. Cataclysm onto LFLICKR, and LFLICKR will take down Obsess. Sinmivak can't chase for anymore, but this is almost Dragon's Soul on to the side of Spandau.
Yeah, and I mean, Cloud again, it's not the highest value, but still getting closer and closer to the Soul. The stats, they will stack up. It's going to be 3 Cloud Dragons, and of course the Soul itself. It's still going to feel really, really nice to have getting around the map a little bit quicker than what a Go Rogue maybe are able to consistently. And I mean, you can see the Go Rogue composition is online. It's pretty much there. It will continue to get stronger as the game continues. These items will continue to morph and change how the champions, or how strong these champions really are going to be. And I mean, it just starts Special trying to play maybe Scatter the Weak over the wall to Sinmivak, then just gets pillared. It's a complete shutdown, and you have to say how much damage comes out from both Pride and the Nite, to be honest with you. Felt like if Yuumi wasn't on the Corki's back, Corki would have definitely died. And then the teleport comes out to contest the dragon, and whilst Spandau, they do pick up the dragon. Prime gets, 700 damage.
He gets precision protocoled, let's be real.
Yeah, he gets a Cho'Gath ultimate, and Rabble with a really nice pillar to interrupt that flag and drag. Definitely sometimes timing on it can be pretty difficult. It's really well played to the Go Rogue jungler for making that one happen, to secure another kill for themselves. And actually now they find themselves 2,500 gold up at the moment on Spandau. And again, their composition is going to continue to scale. Not that Spandau's doesn't, but I mean, talk about how these comps might want to interact with each other unless Spandau are in front of these objectives first. It's going to feel really, really bad if you have to try and run into a Go Rogue ever. Because if you cannot burst down somebody immediately, Yuumi healing is going to come online. Kite back of the Zeri is going to come online. Sinmivak might gain access to Kynetic as the rest of you are going in.
Yeah. You know, I swear, LFLICKR is having the most AD carry experience ever. In the sense that, like, they picked Yuumi for him, and then Yuumi's just sat on Rabble all game and just completely left LFLICKR alone. Oh, it's so tragic. I feel you, LFLICKR. I feel you on that one.
Yeah, it's like you see Yuumi. It's like when you see any enchanter, right? You're like, yes, I'm gonna get pocketed the entire game. Finally, I can be the carry. And not that LFLICKR hasn't necessarily been the carry in this game, but feels like you say, beansu just ignoring his lane partner a little bit in the later stages of the game. But definitely providing value for Rabble. Honestly, being able to get on top and interrupt and play disruption for so many. And the fact that Rabble, unlike LFLICKR, is definitely able to get into positions to allow the final chapter to actually lock down a few more members than maybe LFLICKR could afford with his own positioning and stats. As this is now Go Rogue trying to force their way into territory which Spandau, they're setting up. Baron spawns in about a minute's time, poking and prodding. I mean, if Go Rogue step up too far forward, it could definitely be a little bit dangerous, as the entire party of the Prime League side is here.
Both teams are posturing around this Baron. Both teams have poke as well. They have that range. You've also got the Grudge now finished on Pride, so the Shock Blast not only hurt, but they slow you down. To make sure follow-up zaps and auto attacks and things can come in, but now the Hydra finished onto Nite. Nite can first of all clear through waves like it's nothing, but the poke is very, very hard to work around as Prime just about able to dodge away on eating a rocket from Nite there. Nite is level 17 as well, so almost full build on this Corki.
Yeah, 4 items. That's the Dark Seal. I wonder if you'll turn it to Magize or not, considering it has 8 stacks on it.
Oh, that's a big shot blast though. Healed instantly back up from the Yuumi.
And this is the thing, the poke can get healed up as well. Like
Prime's on a ward. There we go.
Prime is on a ward. He's figured it out. But that's the thing, right? Part of the Eintracht Spandau composition, the way that you might theorize, Sinmivak.
Sinmivak has to Zhonya's. Just dead. For the moment, he doesn't have flash. He is dead. Kynetic able to find the kill. Big rocket coming in from Nite. You were talking about how Sinmivak has a Cho'Gath. Nite has it, but ranged.
Yeah, he does. Special's gonna have to go back to base and probably teleport if he wants to be a part of anything. But that single rocket alone may have just dissuaded any kind of Baron start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spandau.
This dragon's spawning as well soon.
Yeah. So Sinmivak does have teleport, but it's going to be another 30 seconds almost until he's back out on the map realistically. Package is here, and given how strong Nite is, I don't know how convincing they're going to be.
Here comes the package. He's not actually going to fire it yet. Onto Kynetic he goes. Jumps back out to safety. Healed up by the Yuumi. And Obsess is popped.
He's popped, and even Nite throws up the... I don't know what the emote's called, but the Yuumi scared emote. That's what I'm going to dub it right now. As I think he knows he dove in. Scaredy cat, yeah, makes sense. Just dove in a little bit too far forward, I think, for his own tastes. Almost gets sent back to the grey screen.
You know...
Does survive.
Jamada, I actually really highly rate Cloud Soul in this game, or Cloud Drake at least in this game, because you were hitting on it earlier. A Go Rogue's biggest weakness is they actually don't have any hard engage, and we saw in that bot lane chase how many slows and like things that could interrupt their advance. The slow resist you get from the Cloud Soul, and if you from the Cloud Drakes, and then if you get the Cloud Soul itself, a lot more extra movement speed that you can get used to kind of catch up to Spandau if you find yourself like trying to chase them, because Spandau kind of want to peel back.
Yeah. No, the value is definitely there. I think just at the time it was just very fortunate, given how the game could have gone, that Rogue weren't staring down the barrel of a more oppressive soul. But like you say, the value is definitely there, especially when the hard engage is lacking on one side. And now Spandau, I'm really eyeing this up, where a Special just griefed Obsess's health bar a little bit. I think the latter is true, as he will eat out the plant.
Wait, can Trundle auto attack over walls? That just happened.
Any champion can.
I didn't know that. Rabble, though, has to pop ultimate onto Obsess and needs to be careful because Special can slow him and catch him off. They've got the Yuumi, though, to heal them up, and Obsess has to flag and drag to safety. Sinmivak came in on the flank, and Nite's going to eat a big old shot blast as the quickness gets thrown down. Luck is on his lonesome, and Prime just gets so much health removed.
Yeah, Nite was about to deliver him straight back to the fountain. As now actually they're trying to reset, but I mean, look at the mid lane. Sinmivak, he's actually there. Agoro can stop these bases. I mean, they stopped Special and Obsess. They can turn this into kills easily. Yeah,
they can. Nite comes over with the Valkyrie. Gets the unleashed power thrown onto him, and Obsess is going oh so low. 2 quick kills for a Go Rogue, and they can turn this into Baron now.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely turn that into Baron. No jungler, no Special. That's an easy Baron takedown. Maybe Pride and Kynetic can get a little bit of poke damage in, but the rocket is just not up for Kynetic. You can see the poke damage is definitely there, but I think 3v5 is a little bit too much for Eintracht Spandau to bite. And Rogue, they will walk away with the Baron. Let's get the replay, and you can see Obsess gets his base stopped by Lucka with that zap, and the rest of the team actually goes back. I wonder if Special actually had the time to reset or not. Not too sure. Mid lane, base was opened by Sinmivak, and simply too many members on top of the Spandau side. And now, with this Baron buff, you expect I'm going to remove the inner towers, maybe even try and look for at least one inhibitor here. So late into the game, with Nite being so strong with all the poke, you expect that to be the bare minimum, and Nite even has now the Magi Soul Stealer. Probably even had enough gold to pick up a blue pot as well. Which looks like, given the particles he did. He is very, very strong, and the Yuumi even, whenever Yuumi is on his back, giving all the more adaptive stats too. That rocket just goes wide, but I mean, if it hits somebody, I think they would have had to go back to base.
This is a big one. If this one hits, it's going to do damage, but they're going to jump instantly on! The assassination is there, but it's not enough! A Go Rogue are coming alive! Lucker's got the Yuumi, Lucker's got the damage, and he's got the backup of his full team. beansu slides in forwards, and Kynetic will go down. An ace for a Go Rogue, and the base will follow.
And finally, the scaling fantasy of a Go Rogue's composition comes online, and they just run Eintracht down after they do lose Nite. And I mean, it was definitely probably the last-ditch effort, realistically, for Spandau there to take down the mid lane of a Go Rogue, take down that Corki. He's been a pain in the side for the last 15 minutes or so of all that damage, but it's just not enough. Eintracht Spandau were not able to match up to the scaling might. They couldn't close out in time with the lead that they did have. They weren't really able to extend any lead that they did pick up in the earlier stages of the game. A Go Rogue going 2-1 into the next week of groups at the Amazon EU Masters.
That was a very, very good game from a Go Rogue. You know, there were some questions, I think, about both of these teams. You know, obviously, Spandau having the Baron incident, very close to almost having another one in this game. And then for a Go Rogue, you know, there have been, you know, their first loss wasn't completely like all that bad, but for them to have suffered that loss was a bit worrying. You know, they are the first seed from the Ultra Liga, so there's always going to be some just natural expectations off the back of that. But it kind of didn't matter because they just came into this game very good, clear game plan. Sinmivak, unfortunately, was on the punishing end of an early game, but it didn't really seem to matter too much because once Nite and LFLICKR came online, those two looked absolutely amazing. Anyway, we are going to throw ourselves to a quick break, and then we'll be getting ready to go into our second game after a quick chat or interview or breakdown of the game. So we'll see you in a moment.